What's up, guys? Welcome back to another awesome, amazing, fun, exciting, and exhilarating, wonderful episode of the Glory Boys podcast.
Whimsical. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of more Disney adjectives.
Nice. Well, I'm one of your hosts, Darren.
And I'm your other host, Austin.
And we're super excited to be here today. Today, we're going to discuss some stuff about weddings and how we've made some mistakes at them.
We've seen some things.
We've seen a couple things.
And we've made some mistakes.
But before we do, let's hit that intro.
All right, so the biggest mistake that we make filming weddings.
What is that, Austin?
Not staying hydrated.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's the worst thing you could ever do is not drink water.
And we drink a lot of energy drinks, as you probably know.
No.
By now.
No.
What are these?
Not energy drinks, that's for sure.
So, caffeine obviously is a diuretic and is not hydrating. So we have made the mistake way too many times of just drinking energy drinks and not drinking water. And we have found the solution. And that solution is
Hydro Jug.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
But for real though, the Hydro Jug is a half-gallon jug.
Yeah.
That you put water in and then you drink it. But what makes the Hydro Jug so great for wedding days is the sleeve and the strap.
Yeah.
I did not get a sleeve and a strap with mine when I got it because I thought they were stupid.
And he never used it.
And I never used it. And then Darren got a sleeve and a strap and I'm like, oh, I can hold it on my body without having to hold it in my hand.
Yeah.
So I literally wore it all this last wedding weekend and it was awesome because every time I was like, oh, I'm really thirsty. Oh, I have my Hydro Jug. It's around my shoulders.
Yeah.
Even though I'm shooting, I'm running glide cam, like both of my hands are busy, but I have a half a gallon of water at my side at all times.
Yeah, it's really great. And my absolute favorite feature is the straw. So you buy the straw separate and I just enjoy drinking water from a straw. I drink it faster, I drink more of it. When you just kind of do the pour action, I just don't like to drink it like that.
It's too much work.
It's too much
Who
work.
wants to do that?
Keep it simple.
The straw is nice too. It has a unique design where it actually will pop up as you open the lid.
So yeah, you can just push
so
it
you
down.
can close the lid with the straw in it, which is really nice.
Yeah, and it has a couple little pockets on the side here. So you can put your phone in the sleeve here, or put whatever you want. But it's just super nice. It's super handy, and honestly, I carry this around everywhere I go. And it seems kind of silly. My wife always says I kind of look like a soccer dad with it. But hey, soccer dads are cool. So
yeah, I'm just going full dad mode. I got the fanny pack.
Yep.
That I've been wearing for the past month now.
He showers with it.
Pretty much. I do wear it to bed. I got my Hydro Jug around my shoulders.
Yep.
So anything you need, I got.
He's got
you
it.
Need some water? I got you. You
the
need
cool
a knife?
thing, so Hydro Jug, again, this isn't sponsored. I wish it was. Maybe someday. But Hydro Jug did just run a Kickstarter. It's still going right now. But they're doing stainless steel and they're doing glass. For all of you clean water drinkers, it's a nicer option to drink your water. And so the design is updated. It's really cool. It's got a new handle on it. The glass actually comes with a silicone sleeve over top of it. So it's a little bit more durable and sturdy. You can bring it to the gym. We went to the gym today. We brought these. It's so nice. Yeah. But I'm excited.
In a world without water fountains anymore.
Yeah, those aren't really turned on anywhere.
Yeah.
They're always off. Please do not use or you'll die. And so you got to bring your own.
There's a free ad for Hydro Jug.
Yeah.
And that's actually not on our list of mistakes.
Right.
But we wanted to just put that out there because it was something that we've relatively recently implemented. And it is really important to stay hydrated on a wedding day.
That's right.
If you pass out, that's bad news.
There's been days where I actually felt like I was going to.
Oh, every wedding day. I mean, you're going hard for 12 hours straight.
Yep.
If you don't drink water, you are not going to feel good.
If it's hot out, which it has been very hot out, it's not good.
Game changer.
Game changer.
All right. So getting into the actual meat of the episode, we have 5 mistakes.
Yep.
And these are things that we have personally made and we see a lot of other people making. Mistake number 1, so this is actually pre-wedding. So this will kind of go somewhat in order. So before the wedding, the biggest mistake that we have made is not being proactive.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Great question, Darren. Not being proactive. So there are a few things that you need to prepare for going into a wedding day, especially as a wedding filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we do same day edits, which is where we literally will edit, you know, a 3 to 5 minute film during the day as the day is going on, and we'll actually deliver it and play it at the reception.
Crazy.
Which those are nuts, but they're really fun. And one mistake that I've made even recently with these is not being proactive with the venue. So with the same day edit, it's not just you need to show up with your camera gear. There also needs to be a projector.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be a projector screen.
Yep.
You need to make sure that you have audio cables that you need to connect to the DJ board.
Yep.
Thank God the weddings that we did, the DJ had these cables, but I know like we will be buying all of the necessary cables so that this is always a prepared part of our day.
Mm-hmm.
So not being proactive, even to having a conversation with the bride and groom beforehand. We're going to do an episode all about how to equip your brides for success on a wedding day. And that's part of it as well, making sure that they are aware that things like doing a letter reading at the beginning of the day, or things like writing their own custom vows as opposed to just reading a script.
Yeah.
Things like that are ways that you can be proactive before a wedding day.
Don't spoil the episode.
I know I won't get too into it, but yeah, just being proactive, thinking through what do I need to make sure is communicated and lined up prior to the day of, and just going in with a plan.
Honestly, simple things like, what are the bride and groom's names? You got to be reminded almost, because we had just shot 3 weddings the last 3 weeks. So, you know, going into knowing who the bride is, maybe pulling it up on Instagram, look them up on Facebook, just to know their face, because they're all wearing the same robes. They're all, you know, you walk into a hotel room or somebody's house and you don't know who you're looking for. Yeah, just be proactive and look them up. Make sure you know their name, how to pronounce it. It's just a level of care that you can add to the day, and it just helps you prepare that much better. Yeah.
Another way we're proactive is by sending out questionnaires. That gives us all the information. We've talked in detail about this, so you can go back and watch the podcast on that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just having all your ducks in a row prior to the wedding. The worst thing that can happen is you show up to a wedding day and you realize there's something that you didn't prepare for, and now you can't. We shot a wedding same day edit, and it was out of town 45 minutes. Well, if I need an audio cable, it's not like I can run to Best Buy in Glenwood, Iowa. They don't exist.
That's true.
And they don't sell that type of cable at Casey's.
They don't even have electricity out there.
Right. So be proactive.
Another thing too, just with the same day edits, the place that we were in, Glenwood, didn't have great Wi-Fi, and I hadn't picked out a song for the same day edit yet. So I'm like over here with my phone trying to get 1 or 2 bars, set it outside on the stoop, and then trying to get Wi-Fi to my computer to use my hotspot. And it was just a mess, but it did finally download, and thank God I did have enough service, but it took like 20 minutes for a 3-minute song, and we finally did that. But just if I would have just planned ahead of time and would have downloaded the song prior and had it already on my hard drive, I would have the day would have been smoother. But just being proactive.
Yeah, that's the name of the game with weddings, is identifying and solving issues before they arise.
Yes.
Covering all of your bases
all
that
of
could
them.
Possibly cut, even down to where am I going to sit while I edit this?
Yes.
You literally had to sit in a wine cellar.
In a wine cellar. It was freezing.
With spiders. Like,
there was tons of spiders.
Oh my gosh.
It was really interesting.
It was like permanently locked too, so we couldn't shut the door. So when we're like coming in and out, I'm like, I can't shut the door too hard because then I'll literally lock Darren inside.
Yeah, and they're like, here's the number to this the winery, so call this number if it gets locked. Well, I don't really have cell service, so no cell service. I'm gonna get locked in the cellar. It's freezing because they have to keep the wine at a certain temperature. It's freaking hot outside. So it was just like, yeah, we could have probably cleaned up a lot of those messes. Thankfully, we're solution oriented.
Yeah.
We get things done. We make sure things happen, but we could have cleaned up a lot of that with some forethought.
See, guys, we still make mistakes.
Sure, we do.
And we learn from them, and we won't let it happen again.
Everybody makes
mistakes.
And
we hope that you don't let it happen.
Everybody
ever.
has those days.
Nice.
Know what that song is?
I don't. I recognize the lyrics, but is it a Jessie J song or something?
No, it's like Hannah Montana.
Nice. All right, moving on.
Next one.
Mistake number 2, not being Mistake number 2, not being upfront with the photographer.
Ooh, what does that mean? You're gonna get in a fight?
Tell me.
Yeah, so something that we've done this quite a bit, but for some reason in our industry, in the wedding industry, the videographer and the photographer just don't mesh well. And we're trying to break a lot of the time, and not really from our experience, but we've just heard that. We see just horror stories and blogs and things that people say. And the funny thing is it's one of our goals to really like break that facade and really go into wedding day and make the photographer love us regardless of what they think or their preconceived notion about the video guys. So we walk into a wedding, but something that we've done before that was not smart was we would just kind of let them run the day and really sit on our back foot and not get the shot we needed because we didn't speak up. We'd let a moment pass. We wouldn't communicate with the photographer. And I think when you don't communicate, you're setting yourself up for failure for the entire day.
Absolutely. Just setting expectations. The first thing, we've talked about this in a previous podcast where we walk through our whole wedding day and kind of how we operate. But one of the first things that we do is we try to make a connection with the photographer, a friendly connection with them.
Yeah.
And we literally have said this before, like, we will force you to be our friend.
Yeah.
And we will be so friendly to you that you will have no choice but to like us.
It's not an option.
Because it's also not an option for us to be butting heads all day.
Totally.
Everything is worse when that happens.
Yep.
And so by communicating clearly at the beginning of the day, hey, here is what we like to do.
Yeah.
Does this align with your goals for today? If not, let's figure out how we can get those to align, because ultimately we both need the shots.
Yeah.
But typically what you'll find is you both have the same goal and you're on the same page, but you have to communicate it.
Yep.
And what you said is every photographer that you work with has had a different experience with every one of the video people they've worked with before.
Yeah.
It probably hasn't been a great one. So that's your opportunity to prove that wrong. And so, by saying things like, hey, if I'm in your way, just kick me. Oh, haha, it's kind of funny, but it sets them at ease.
Yeah.
Where they know we care about them getting the shot as well.
Yeah.
And so we almost more go that direction than like, hey, this is what we need. We really try to, just set that clear expectation of like, hey, this is going to go best if we can work together. We know you have shots that you need to get. We have shots that we need to get.
Yeah.
And so, hey, for these moments, you can even say that right at the beginning of the day. Hey, we're going to be doing a letter reading. If you wouldn't mind not using flash and not talking during that portion, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Things like that, even before moments.
Yep.
Just setting that expectation can clear up a lot of headache later on in the day.
Totally. And it's really just relationship building. Oftentimes we shoot weddings with the same photographer. So I don't want to shoot a wedding with a photographer, leave a poor, taste in their mouth about our company, and then have to shoot another one the next week with them. And that's not ever our goal anyway. We just want to build relationship. We have tons of industry friendships with photographers, and we are going to continue building those relationships. We have yet to work with a photographer that we just don't want to work with. We very much value what they bring to the table, what their profession is, what value they bring to the wedding day. So really, we're just going to continue to set the standard and continue to build relationships with the photographers in our industry.
Yeah, I love that. Mistake number 3, this kind of falls in with number 2 a little bit, but it's letting moments pass. This can happen because you haven't set expectations with the photographer.
Yeah.
But it can also just happen because either you are getting lazy with the day. I've been there. I've had days where I show up and it's not what I want to be doing on that Saturday.
Right.
I'd rather be home with my wife and 8-month-old daughter.
Yeah.
So it can either be just out of laziness or it could be out of a lack of confidence. I think there's a lot of different things, but you can let moments pass by on a wedding day. And what we really try to do is we try to make moments happen without forcing, without scripting, without posing.
Yep.
You don't want it to come across as fake, but there's things that you have to make sure that you capture.
Yeah.
There's been many weddings where the bride has been like, oh yeah, I wrote a letter, but we'll probably just get to that later. And sometimes we have to be assertive and say, hey, I understand that you maybe want to do this later. However, this is really important to the film.
Yep.
And so if there's any option to do it now so that we make sure we have it, we would love to do that. And if you present it in that way, it's not, you can never present it from, I need this.
Yeah.
Because that just turns everyone away. The photographer, the bride and groom, it's gotta be, I have an interest in making this film as good as it can be. Mm-hmm. And really that's what the bride should want as well. And so when you ask these things in that manner, I've never had them turn me down.
Yeah, they hired you for a reason. So they know that you know what you're doing. And so, yeah, being assertive, but also just being respectful and just explaining the why is really, really important. But yeah, not passing on those moments, that can really get you in a bad spot. We've had it where we've passed on moments. We sit down to edit the film and we're like, we don't have what we need to make a great film. We will make it great, but it's that much harder when you don't have the audio from the letters. We are very audio-driven wedding films. So we need audio. We need to carry the film. We need to find those songs with amazing lyrics and great dynamics. And if we don't have the audio, it's really, really tough. So don't let moments pass. Don't make that mistake.
Yeah, and I think just to wrap up that thought, I think there's some helpful language that you can have to help you approach this. Because I think we really do have this pretty well mastered as far as like being assertive, getting what we need without being aggressive or domineering. And that's, I think that's a big trick because I see people typically on one or the other. Mm-hmm. And the people who know how to ride that line are the people that are the most successful in this industry.
Yep.
When you know how to get what you want without telling people what to do. And so things like, hey, we would love to grab this shot. I think it'll be really cool for the film. Do you mind if we pull you away for a few seconds? Mm-hmm. They're not going to say no.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, I need a shot of you, come over here real quick. Well, I've seen that happen. And by the end of the day, the bride is really annoyed.
Yep.
So don't be that either.
Yeah. Don't be that guy.
And the same goes for the photographer. Hey, I love that pose that you just did. Do you mind if I grab a wide of that real quick? Of course they're going to let you.
Totally.
But if you're like, hey, can you get out of my shot? I need to get this shot. Well, they're going to be putting up walls already. And so it's a lot of it is in the way that you approach it and the words that you use and the heart that they can tell that you have.
Oftentimes, if you do the job well, if you walk into a wedding film, or if you walk into a wedding with the bride in mind, oftentimes the time with them and you and getting the shot is going to be the most refreshing and fun for them the whole day.
Truth.
And that's really cool. You get to be a part of creating a special space for them to breathe, to sit, to get a drink of water, to get away from the chaos, to get away from mom, to get away from their phone, and just be them and just breathe. We oftentimes will pull them away for a little session and we'll say, hey, just take this time, just breathe. We're away from the noise. We're away from all the chaos and the wedding planner, which all that's important, but let's just take a second and let's enjoy this moment. You have one day, we have one moment here. Let's not let it pass. Let's really just have fun. And they always have a blast. We laugh, we have fun, we make them do all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's a blast. And you want that to be a fun experience for your bride and groom.
Mistake number 4, and this is, I will personally admit to making this mistake.
What is it?
Far too often. Mistake number 4 is acting from emotion.
Oof.
And I might as well just take this one because I am the one that typically is the offender of this. Darren, I will brag on you for a little bit. You are better than anyone else I've ever seen at walking into a room. And it does not matter what's going on in your life. Like, it literally doesn't matter. Your whole life could be crumbling in, but you have a smile on your face and you do not let that affect the way you approach a wedding day.
Yeah, I really try hard to not let that.
And a lot of people say like, oh, Darren's the vibes guy. And like, yeah, it's funny. And like all of that, but it's true. And it's not ever fake or inauthentic.
Sick.
So anyways, done bragging on Darren.
No, it's great.
So now I'm going to talk about my, my failures. Don't
worry. I have some too.
Yeah. No, we all have stuff. Mine, one big one for me is acting on emotion, letting things before the wedding day, even letting your thoughts towards giving up another Saturday. There are a lot of things that could reduce your performance on a wedding day, even down to things happening during the day. And that's probably the biggest one. Mm-hmm. Things will happen.
Yep.
If you work weddings, you will learn very quickly. There are way too many things that are out of your control.
Yes.
You have to rely on way too many other people to get the work that you need. And that's my biggest struggle with weddings is like, if it were all up to us, we would never not have great audio. We wouldn't, but it's not always completely up to us.
Yeah.
And so you have to not let that affect your outlook on the day and ultimately how you interact with the bride. And sometimes for me, that's literally looking at Darren. This happened recently where we were at a wedding and the bride actually mentioned like, yeah, I see you guys like so energetic in your videos. Like you guys seem tired. And I honestly kind of took that to heart and felt that. And we went out in the hallway and we're like, okay, we need to turn this on.
Yeah.
This couple has put way too much investment and way too much trust in us to film their one day that only will happen one time for us to be tired, for us to be not our best because we didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
And so that's just like, it's a hard truth. Like if you're not feeling it, get over it. Figure out how. There are ways you can try to like shake it off, go like take a breather, go pray for a few minutes, whatever that is for you.
Yeah.
For me, usually it's like Darren looking at me and like, yeah, we need to turn this up. And I'm like, all right, you got it.
Yeah.
Let's go. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I would even say for me, like even normally being the way that I am, I like to keep the vibes going and I like to interact and sing the song that's going on and make people laugh and create a good energy in the room. Cause it isn't always good energy in the room. There's always like you can tell people arguing over here or this, or people aren't really talking or having fun.
Mom's creating tension usually.
Yeah. Just weird stuff. And so you sense that stuff in the room and then you want to try to help turn it around. Well, this wedding that you're talking about, I also was feeling it. We had a long weekend. I mean, we had a long week that week. It was just nonstop. And I was like, we took Friday off, but I mean, even just taking that day off, I was like mowing my lawn and like doing tasks and chores. So like, and that's just, again, we talked about how to, rest properly in an earlier episode. And it's really important that you schedule your rest. Yeah. Rest isn't by accident. Rest is on purpose. Rest is scheduled. And that's all I'll say about that. Cause you can go listen to the episode about rest. But, for this particular wedding, I was feeling really like, I hadn't even opened my energy drink yet. I walked in, and that's not an excuse. You don't need an energy drink to have energy, but I was using that as an excuse at the moment. But yeah, we walked in and the vibes were kind of off a little bit, and we were like looking around the room, and it was kind of a split room. There's two different things going on, two different rooms, and there was like a center room, so it was like a joined like hotel room, and all this stuff was kind of spread out, and it was kind of messy in there, and there wasn't a lot of really great lighting opportunities and shot opportunities. And so in my head, as it being a same day edit, I'm kind of already pre-stressing about, man, we don't have the shots that we need because I mean, what are we going to do? I need to start editing this in like a couple hours. Like, are we going to have what we need? There isn't really a place to pull them away. Like I was already stressing in my head before anything even happened. And so the bride sensed that. And because of that, we stepped away. We're like, hey, we got to turn it on. We got to flip this around. And we did, very much so. But I went in and I apologized to the bride, and I was just like trying to connect with her on a relational level. And so we started talking about where they're going on a honeymoon and really started focusing on her and her day and how important the day was and how important she and her groom are. And I think that really helped in my spirit just refresh the reason why I was there. And so, yeah, it was a choice that I had to make. I did have to face the bride saying, hey, you don't really have a lot of energy today. And I was like, that's weird. That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Right.
And I really had to get my crap together, and we did. And honestly, it was awesome. We loved the bride and groom. There was such a joy to be with that day, and they were just amazing. It was such a blast.
Yep. Love that. Like building a relationship with the bride.
Yeah.
I think that you actually pointed out a really profound thing there. One way to get yourself out of your own head is to focus on others.
Yep.
So there's a tip for you.
That's good.
Shift your mind to the bride or someone. The bride's probably the best one. Shift your mind to the bride. Start asking her questions. Get her excited, and it'll pretty quickly, I think, take you out of your own head and 100%. Whatever you're dealing with.
So, I love that. What's the last one?
Last one is not having backups or fail safes. And this can go with audio. It can go with video. As a wedding filmmaker, like I mentioned, you rely on a lot of other people to get you what you need. For example, The DJ you rely on for the ceremony audio, for the reception speeches audio, things like that.
Right.
And we've just had too many times where that audio was not up to par with what we record ourselves.
Yeah.
And so as a filmmaker, you really can't allow the quality of work or the equipment of other people dictate the quality of your film.
Totally.
So for example, for the last 3 years, up until pretty recently, we've only recorded one track of audio from the speeches. It's a recorder plugged into the speaker or the DJ's board, something like that. Well, the problem with that is they can have radio interference. They can cut out. Feedback is a huge one because a lot of DJs don't know how to position their speakers and how to position the person. So
sadly,
they'll put them like right in front of the speaker, which if you know anything about that, it causes feedback.
Yep.
And so we really just can't rely on other people to get the quality that we want. And so make sure that you're backing up your audio. So for the ceremony, we mic up the groom and the officiant. And we've actually now started miking up the bride as well.
Yeah.
Because we've realized that even though we can hear her audio from the groom's mic, you're the lower level of it because she's talking from 4 feet away.
Yeah.
You're going to get way more background noise when you boost that up to be audible.
Yeah.
And so you have a huge discrepancy in the quality of audio between the groom and the bride. So we mic the bride up now whenever they will allow us.
Yeah.
We also, whenever possible, will record audio as a backup through the board.
Yep.
And then for speeches, we will record again through the board using a recorder. But we now have started, we got a sleeve and a little like slim recorder. And we actually will sleeve that to the mic as well. So that way, and it's not a wireless thing, it just records internally.
Yep.
So that way, no matter what happens with the DJ audio, cutting out anything like that, we at least have a clean audio that's right up by their face that's going to be high quality.
Yeah.
And then shooting dual cards too. If you have a camera that will record dual cards, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
We haven't personally had it happen. Thank God we have not had a card corrupt in the middle of a wedding day.
Thank you, God.
And I literally cannot even explain to you the devastation that would cause me.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
If that did happen. And so we saw it happen though. One of the photographers that we were working with on a wedding, halfway through the day, his card had corrupted.
Yeah.
And he had lost every single photo from that camera.
Yeah.
And so we had to actually export stills from the video from the first half of the day to try to save, that portfolio and have some of those shots.
Yep.
And so we learned from that mistake. And so you can learn from that mistake too. If you have a camera that shoots dual cards,
just do it.
Do yourself a favor.
Just do it.
Shoot dual cards. Otherwise, for backups, fail safes, that can come down to storage of the wedding film as well. After we dump the wedding film, we back it up to an entirely separate hard drive.
Yes.
So everything would have to fail at one time for us to lose anything. And the possibilities of that happening are very, very low.
Very low.
So make sure that you are backing up as much as you can. I understand there's a limitation with equipment sometimes, but make those small investments. A small recorder and a sleeve, I think, cost us $90.
Yeah. Worth it.
And it has saved our life already.
Yep.
More than once.
Yeah, $90 is worth the headache that it's saved us.
Absolutely.
And not even just a headache, but sacrificing the quality of the film and what we can give back to the bride and groom. It's insane what $90 can do.
Definitely. Yeah. And if you need help, like getting this gear, if you're booking weddings, just ask yourself, what's one thing I can buy using the budget of this wedding?
Yeah.
A small portion of it.
Yeah.
Say you're making $2,500 on a wedding film. Okay, well, you can probably afford to spend $100 on something that's going to make your films better. Yep. That will also last you for 5 years.
And I would say even like the Tascam 10 or DR10Ls that we bought, they're like $250 for 2 of them. Sometimes B&H runs a deal for $200 for 2. So we've now acquired 2 white ones and 2 black ones, and we use pretty much all of them on a wedding day. Yep. But they're the best investment, one of the best investments I think we've ever made. The audio quality that we get from there is so great. We've learned how to mix it really well. It just sounds really, really good. And you can hide them and, tuck it under a collar and tuck it into the bride's dress and you don't even see it. And it literally saves everything. The whole ceremony is clean, crisp audio. And it's just so great to have that and not really have to worry about, oh, is audio going to be rolling? Yep. I mean, you got to make sure you have batteries. Like we bring a lot of batteries. We've bought a lot of Eneloop, rechargeable batteries we have on deck, and then just making sure that the SD cards are wiped and ready to go and have the space. But again, audio isn't a big file format. It's not going to take up a huge SD card. So yeah, there's not a lot of stressors there. You click record. It can run for 2 hours. Sometimes we're like, oh, we didn't get it off the groom and he jumped on the party bus and it's still on. You know, you have 2 hours of him, and singing songs and rapping Lil Wayne, tracks on the party bus, but who cares? It's kind of fun while you're editing. It's a little entertainment for you.
Yeah, the DR10Ls also will do dual recording. So that's another way that you can back up, not necessarily in case of loss of files, but in case the audio is too loud. So it'll actually record one track at whatever volume you set it at, and then one track at -6 or 12 dB, depending on what you set it at. And so things like that can really help you.
So great.
Just a random piece of gear we've gotten recently is the Tascam DR100 Mark III, which we're going to replace the H4n Pro with. And the nice thing about that is it actually has a rechargeable battery inside it that will last 12 hours. And at first I was like, that's really annoying because they make you charge it before you turn it on.
Yeah.
But what I realized is the nice thing about that is I can put 2 AA batteries in, and I know that even if I don't have time to pop over and check the battery status, if those batteries die, that thing is going to go forever.
Yep.
And so just these little pieces of gear can help you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Just relieving stress. The last thing you want to be worried about when you're shooting a wedding is if the audio is recording properly.
Yep.
And so all of these things can ultimately help you focus on what you need to be focusing on, which is getting the best shots possible.
Yeah.
And so...
And if we're talking about some of the gear that you don't know what we're talking about, we actually link all of this in the description below. So be sure to check that out. You can look and see exactly what we use on a wedding day, on every shoot, all of the gear that we bring with us.
Yep. Well, I think that wraps it up for this week's episode. I hope that you have learned something. Hopefully these are some mistakes that you haven't made that now you won't make.
Right.
Because you're able to learn from our mistakes, from other people's mistakes. And ultimately, that's what this podcast is all about.
Yes.
Equipping you to grow your business faster than we did, better than we did. And we're here as a resource. So if you have any further questions, definitely reach out to us. If you have any ideas for topics you want to hear us cover, whether that's weddings, whether that's film, whatever it is, shoot us an email at hello@gloryvisuals.com. We would love to hear your feedback, love to hear ideas. Sometimes it's really tough to know what would a young new filmmaker want to hear. What are things that we can bring to the table that we've learned over the last 3 years? And so if you have anything, definitely shoot us an email. And with that, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube right now, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to hear and listen and watch more of our content. We post podcasts every Wednesday, so hit the notification bell.
Ding.
To be notified when we post these videos every Wednesday at 5 p.m. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, as always, leave us a rating if you're enjoying this content. It really helps us grow the channel, and we really love just hearing your feedback. Yeah, and don't be afraid to share it with a friend that maybe needs to hear some of this stuff. Maybe this is like basic knowledge to you and you're already advanced in your wedding film business. That's awesome, and we're super grateful that you're here. But if you know somebody that needs to know this information or would find some value in it, please share it. Once you send it over to them, you can click a few buttons and you can actually copy the link to this episode and you can text it to them or send it to them on whatever platform that is. But thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.
See ya.